All right, everybody. Good Tuesday evening. Meteorologist Alex Carter and Connor Tank with you here in the Fox 54 Digital Weather Center. It's another edition of Weather Aware Live. It's been a long time coming. You know, you were in the mornings last week, doing a phenomenal job giving us the forecast, and now we're here. And Connor, we got some eventful weather to talk about.
That's right, Alex. These storms just coming kind of on the edge of the heat dome, making their way down. They were in the Blue Ridge Mountains beforehand, and we were spot on with the timing of this. We were saying between kind of 10 p.m. To 1 a.m., but I was talking about it a little bit in my show beforehand between 5 and 6 and the 6:30, and we were talking about this beforehand. Do these storms keep their acting gear and stay strong once they make towards the CSRA? And right now that looks like it's coming into fruition.
Yeah, you know, I was looking in the model data. Heat dome storms, for those who are asking, well, you know, why is the rain so finicky right now? Why is that rainfall forecast so hard to kind of dial in? It's because we've been on the outer edge of the heat dome, to Connor's point. You know, inside of a heat dome, it's like a bubble. It's kind of like a force field, right? The rain is non-existent. It's just hot and dry. But once you get on the outer edge of it, you start to get back on Main Street. It's like you take a back road and then you get on the interstate, right? Traffic picks up, and then here we go with these showers and thunderstorms. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. You don't know. Some people are going 50 on the interstate. Some people are going 80 or 90 on the interstate, right? Some of these storms act the same way. They're very hard to time out, and we're timing out some of the latest of this. I think about, say, 10:15 to 10:30, Connor, is when we're going to be seeing some of this moving into the northern CSRA. I wanted to zoom out on this line for a second because it's very potent, and you see the severe thunderstorm warnings that are being issued now south of I-85 near Athens, Commerce, and Gainesville. The nature of these storms today has been rather tremendous. If I do just a time lapse, and you see the broad line as a whole here. There it is, and this is just the line as a whole. It is a lot weaker on the east side now than it is the west side, and Connor, part of that is that shortwave energy. I know I'm getting into the weeds with that here, but we're seeing a little bit of the mid-level disturbance starting to shift a little bit west. The NAM was showing that, and the NAM's actually been really good this summer, and that kind of nailed it on the head. That's why some of those storms inched west tonight. That's what's moving in tonight, Connor.
Yeah, Alex, just need to keep tabs on this as it goes throughout the rest of this evening. You're right, yeah, the NAM-ST was really good on this too. It did have was picking up a little bit on that shortwave energy.
Right. I mean, and what we're talking about when we say the word shortwave energy, I know that's a mouthful and a lot to figure out. It just means a disturbance in the middle of the atmosphere. So whenever you see kind of like a squiggle lines is what we like to call them, a trough, that's when you know that some stormy weather could pop up. Essentially what we've got going on is a north wind in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and we've got a west wind coming in at the surface. Those two are causing the lift for storms today, and on top of that, even some spin in the atmosphere. Thankfully, you're seeing the trend now. There's no tornado warnings in Georgia or South Carolina at this time, but this line of storms has produced about 3 or 4 tornado warnings, Connor. So we're going to watch for that. I don't think that's a big concern here, but we are going to keep close tabs on that. You'll see Connor and I tracking these coming up at 10 and 11, so make sure you join us there. We got about 37 minutes until our newscast starts, and, of course, those storms will be right on the doorstep right at Fox 54 News at 10. So, Connor, we're going to track these out here and give everybody some arrival times. These are moving, and I'm going to check the forward speed here from the National Weather Service. Moving south at 50 miles an hour. I mean, that's one of the faster speeds. How about this warning here? Because some of them can move a little bit slower than others. This one moving at 35. I think the storm motion overall is at about 40 miles an hour with this batch of storms. So we're going to trace that, and we're just going to push that to the south-southeast here.
Kind of look at the timing of
there we go.
Different people I could see as the storm progresses on through.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, we got Athens, Georgia, you know, at about 10:30. So here in just the next, I'd say, hour there, I think maybe that's even a little bit a hair slow. This line is starting to get that forward momentum. You know, when we start to see lines, they get away from their parent low, and then they just really start to push the gas pedal a little bit. So I think that's what's happening here. I'm actually going to retime this out, Connor. I think maybe 50 miles an hour is probably more like it. when it comes to tracking out the speed of this.
Right, Alex, because you were saying kind of the northern tier of the CSRA could start to see some of the storms by 10:30.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm looking, I'd say 10:30 right there along Highway 378. So we're looking at Washington. We're looking at Lincolnton, McCormick, perhaps even northern Edgefield County, closer to Pleasant Lane, Tignall, Rail, the Chenault community in Lincoln County, Troy in the northern part of McCormick County, Mount Carmel as well. These are all spots that we'll be tracking close because I think we could see some 40 to 60 mile an hour gusts with a few of these storms. So very important that you keep an eye on the skies tonight. I'm thankful that this is not happening when everybody is driving home from work, getting home from school. This is just some good sleeping weather, as we'll call it.
Exactly. Good sleeping weather. Some frequent thunder and lightning is possible, but you're right.
So, Tara, thank you for asking about rail in Wilkes County. I do think this is going to be right on your doorstep, right about 10:15, 10:30. So be on the lookout. Gusty winds up to 40 to 60 miles an hour. Our main concern with some of these cells. Also, we have a couple comments. Selena says it's very hot still in Augusta by Wheeler Road. Spot on. We agree with you. You go out the door and it feels like a blowtorch. And we've kind of had a nice breeze out ahead of this front, out ahead of the system here. It's been windy, and on top of that, it's been hot. So it does kind of feel like a blowtorch out there, Connor.
Yeah, and to Selena's point, as hot as it's been lately, all that ground heating, could even fuel these storms a little bit more as they push on through to the Augusta Metro.
You no doubt about it, Connor. I think we'll probably see these moving into the Augusta Metro. And what we're going to be looking at in the long-range outlook here is a lot of dry weather. But today's kind of the last of the storms for a little bit. So we're starting to see a lot of questions about time, about Avra, Barnwell, Wagner, all over the CSRA. So we're going to time this out for you real quick. So that's kind of the timing in the near term that you're seeing. But let's go ahead and time out these storms on Futurecast. So we'll start this out, right now. And again, what I don't like about this model that we're seeing, this is why we tell you models are not the gospel truth, if you will, because what is this model already doing wrong? Well, Connor can let you know.
It's way more intense to our east. And what we're seeing from Doppler radar currently is these storms are weakening as they're kind of going towards the I-26 corridor area, kind of through Columbia and Richland County. And there's next to nothing to our north and west right now, kind of northwest of Athens, Georgia, and clearly there is because we're looking at it Doppler radar right now.
The big thing here to note is the models are not initializing correctly. They hardly have all of this week, quite frankly. Heat domes, models do horrific jobs with heat domes. Even the one this week or this weekend, the rain didn't perform up to standard in some cases. We dropped those rain chances down by Thursday to 40%. Just wasn't a whole lot, right? Same thing here. We are going to see those storms. Now, here's where I think this is actually accurate. So ignoring the eastern half right here. So if you're watching this and you're in Barnwell, please just ignore this, all right? Not coming to fruition here. I think this line around Highway 378 is real. So I'm going to give this about 11 to 11:30 if you're in Augusta and Aiken. Okay, so North Augusta. I would say 11:30 to midnight if you're in Waynesboro. All right, I would say Barnwell closer to about 11:30. I'd say Louisville at about 11:30. I'd say midnight closer to Swainsboro, Millen, Sylvania. These storms are picking up in speed, so they are going to be in and out. I mean, I'm talking the worst of the weather, probably not, maybe 15 to 20 minutes in your area, and it's done. That's what we're watching for. Don't be surprised if there's some spotty power outages out there. Storms like this, because they're moving very quickly, they've got a lot of wind shear supporting them, so they're just going to get picked up. That upper level energy is actually pretty potent. So I think these storms are going to keep rolling fast, and they're going to have a lot of potential for some stronger wind gusts. So just be on the lookout for that tonight. Be inside, away from windows. And again, what we're watching is, I would say for Washington, Lincolnton, McCormick, Edgefield, right about 10:30. I would say Augusta at about 11. I would say Waynesboro, Barnwell, Louisville, 11:30, and then midnight for Swainsboro, Millen, Sylvania, Allendale. So if you're watching us from any of those areas, hopefully we addressed your area. I do think that about 10:15, this starts to get along Highway 378 and it continues to book it to the south. So it's not going to be very long into Fox 54 News at 10 that we end up seeing that, Connor.
Right, Alex, and there is the potential. You mentioned strong wind gusts. We could maybe see some microbursts out of this. This is, as we can see from Doppler radar currently, it's producing like some decent brief periods of some heavy downpours. We could have a lot of water on top of those clouds coming down as a column of air, and we could see some microbursts out of this.
Yeah, and hopefully that won't be the case. I mean, obviously, we're looking at potential for some strong wind gusts. We'll look at the storm reports in just a second because this line has had a history of producing storm reports. Lots of trees down with this particular system. Now, I don't want you to think that it's going to be that rough here, but I do think some of these storms are going to get noisy in our area. So we'll be on the lookout for those. Gina, I don't expect flooding from this. Just it's such a fast-moving system, and it's so dry out. I mean, we just haven't had a lot of rain lately. I know we're out of the drought technically. I think by Thursday we could start to maybe see that changing again for some of us. Let's see. Wagner in Aiken County. Tammy, thanks for tuning in. I do think Wagner probably is going to see this closer to about 11 o'clock on the dot. I think it'd be very close to then. So we're going to be tracking these storms as they book it. They're going to be racing through the area, so it's not going to take very long for them to get here. And once they do, again, they're in and they're out. It doesn't last very long at all. Michelle, I agree with you there. A good thunderstorm with no severe weather is wonderful sleeping weather. I think for some of us, we're going to hear some heavy booms of thunder and lightning, and that's about it. For others, you might just get a weak shower, and that's about it. Because there's going to be some weaker segments in this line, Connor, and we'll show you what some of those look like right now. I don't see this being, and you see the nature of the line. Notice how one half of the line is weaker than the other. So right in here, still got a special weather statement, but there's that cell to watch right there, and that one's crossing I-85. These are generally sliding in our direction, but the general motion is south. So, and let's go ahead and show you the last 30 minutes on that. So you see how most of the motion is to the south, but you see that slight slide to the east, and that's what we'll be watching through tonight as well. So timing this out, I'm going to clock this at about, I'm going to say 45 miles an hour here. And that's, even when you go that far out.
And you're right, Alex. And you see that these are some strong storms. We've got plenty of lightning that's being produced from these. We got to keep an eye on them. Mostly moving south, just slightly to the east.
Yeah, and so that slight east motion is what could bring some storms into our area for sure. The Georgia side of the river right now, based on radar trends, is trending to get the worst of this tonight. So if you're in Rail, if you're in Tignal, Washington, Aonia, Lincolnton, Chenault, up towards, say, Mount Carmel, Troy, Tolliver County, near Crawfordville, and even up towards Appling, Mistletoe State Park, I'm watching for some stronger storms. Edgefield, I also think you could see some stronger storms tonight. And the Augusta Metro, too. I think the Augusta Metro is going to get its fair share of thunder, lightning, gusty winds, but it might take up until, I'd say, about 11 o'clock for this to really get near you in the Augusta Metro. So, this is summertime, y'all, and the good news is I want to talk about the good news with this forecast, too. It's not all just, we're not trying to scare anybody by any means. I will say part of the good news with this is, Connor, I'm going to let you give it away here. Let the cat out of the bag. Some lower humidity, right?
Right. We're going to get a break from the heat a little bit. Starting on, I believe, our Thursday. That's when it's going to happen. Our dew points are going to drop a little bit. We're going to have dew points in the 60s.
Yeah.
Late July, just getting into early August, and it's going to be a nice relief from the heat, and it's going to keep us dry. So I think later in this week, if anybody has some time off, it might be a good time to do some outdoor activities, believe it or not. Still stay hydrated, apply that sunscreen, but it is going to be kind of a relief from the heat.
Yeah, truly. You see the dew points there in the mid to late week. This is Thursday morning. So the front, I think, we're not going to see much of the benefits of it tomorrow. It's going to take till Thursday and Friday. Those are the two golden days right there. You see some of the dew points, especially up in Asheville and Charlotte, in the upper 50s. I think we're going to have some lows in the upper 60s, Connor. We've been forecasting that ahead of the models. We've been saying, okay, we're going to get into the upper 60s with these lows because of this front. The National Blender models and multiple others were not putting it out there. They were very bullish on staying in the 70s. We know this good and well. It can get a little bit cooler, especially in the Augusta area. We're in a little bit of a fishbowl right at Augusta Regional Airport in downtown Augusta. Everything else is at a little bit of a higher elevation. So as a result, you can get some of that cooler air sinking in, and that can actually lower our temperatures a good bit. So I do think we'll hit the upper 60s at Augusta Regional Airport. The cooler pockets, I think, could get as low as about maybe 66 degrees or 67. We haven't felt a temperature like that, and I couldn't tell you when.
Late in May or early June is probably the last time we felt temperatures like that. So, it definitely will be a relief from the heat. Going past Thursday and Friday, we got to keep our eyes peeled, but there's a little bit of a southwesterly flow that's going to happen from the Gulf, Alex, and it could elevate our chances for some rain. I want to say starting on our Sunday. There is a slight chance for some rain on Saturday, but I think this really kicks into high gear Sunday into early next week.
Yeah, and to Connor's point, what he's talking about here, obviously what you see is that cold front clearing the area by tomorrow evening, giving us some drier air. And then the heat dome stays to our west. Hey, that's a win, okay? That doesn't happen a whole lot around here. So, I think I've said the word heat dome so many times, I can't see straight anymore. I think I'm tired of saying it, I'll be honest with you. But that's the setup we're in, so that's why we say it. If it wasn't a heat dome, we wouldn't call it that. But thankfully, we don't have to say it any longer after tomorrow. And this front is responsible for that. Now, here's this low pressure on the outer edge of that dome back towards the Ozarks. And let's watch what happens later this week. That upper level low, it's actually going to get a little bit more intense. And by intense, we're not trying to scare you. We just mean the low pressure is going to get more organized. And what that means is it's going to start up more of a south wind again. So our winds are going to be more out of the north, and then they're going to shift back south by Sunday and Monday. And what that's going to do is it's going to just churn up all this Gulf moisture, and our rain totals start to go up. I think we have a fair chance at rain Sunday and Monday. So for this weekend, as we're waiting on these storms, again, we're going to be tracking these all through the show on Fox 54 News at 10 and 11. So I want you to join us there because that's where we'll be tracking a lot of this weather. But as for Sunday and Monday, I do think our rain chances, Connor, to your point, are heightened thanks to that upper level low, and that's going to drag in a lot of moisture. We could stay in the upper 80s with rain. I think Saturdays, my family's coming into town this weekend. We've already talked about it, and we're doing things on Saturday outside.
Good
Sunday's
plan.
more of an indoor day, and I think I recommend probably doing the same. I don't think it's a washout on Sunday, but I do think we could see some heavier rain. Strong storm potential looks low. It's the air is just so thick. We'd be looking at maybe, the precip loading type of storms that we talk about, which is nothing significant, by the way, just average summertime. So, again, I just want y'all to know, if you're looking for better rain chances, you might see a storm tonight. Some of you will, but the better chance of a more widespread spread the love rain is on Sunday and Monday.
Exactly, Alex. Yeah, so after today, chances for rain are pretty slim, but Sunday into Monday, that's when things start to elevate a little bit. So, you want to be outside, do some outdoor activities Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yes, no doubt about it. And I tell you what, I'm seeing a few comments. Tammy, if you're still watching, good evening. Thanks for tuning in. No need to be worried about these storms. I mean, we'll probably just see a good light show with a few of them, and we'll have some heavy rain and, of course, some loud booms of thunder. There will be some gusty winds in a few of these, but overall, again, we are expecting this to be overall, again, hit or miss in nature with some of the strongest weather. Mary Beasley in Avra, Georgia, I'm looking more so at about, I'd say 11 to 11:30 in your neighborhood. That's right on the border of Glasscock and Jefferson County there in Avra in the Stapleton region. So thank you guys again for joining us for Weather Aware Live. Going to leave y'all with one last path of these storms, and going to track these real quick. So I'm going to give you just a quick storm timeline so you can get on about your night. And, of course, if you want more storm coverage, that's exactly what you'll get. Here on Fox 54 News. That's coming up in 20 minutes. 20 minutes. And speaking of 20 minutes, I think in about 20 minutes, These storms will be getting rather close to Wilkes County, Lincoln County, Tolliver, McCormick County. And the severe thunderstorm warnings are now getting issued downstream, so ahead of the game. The National Weather Service getting out ahead of these. So that is moving at a pace of 30 miles an hour. So kind of slow rollers. I mean, I still think this particular cell moving over Athens, I think that's a little bit of a faster moving one, but that's kind of outrunning the pack a little bit. Tracing that out real quick. And I'm going to go 40. I think these are moving a little bit quicker than that. So again, on the northern corner of the viewing area, within the hour, I think 10:30 is pretty feasible for this to be encroaching right on the northern part of Wilkes County, Lincoln, McCormick, and Tolliver counties, even northern Edgefield County too. So these storms are they're holding together, and they have a tremendous amount of lightning with them. I will say. So they are prolific lightning makers. I think we're going to see a lot of these pushing into the CSRA. So, again, just be on the lookout for these, and don't be caught off guard. If you're watching this, you're not. You're ahead of the game already. We're going to be tracking these in just about 19 minutes here on Fox 54 News at 10. So make sure to join us there. And, of course, you can catch our live stream on WFXG.com as well. And Connor and I will be tracking those and making sure that they behave. Hopefully that'll be the case tonight. And looking forward to talking more about some lower humidity.
Those storms better behave, Alex.
I hope so. That would be appreciated. We've seen enough trouble from the tropics and what else. So these we'll be tracking closely. We'll make sure to keep you safe and keep you informed. So we'll see you soon on Fox 54. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you in just about 15 minutes.